It was 4:37 a.m. The alarm blared like a cruel joke. Most would hit snooze. But not Daiki. He was already out of bed, not because he wanted to, but because he promised himself he would. What made this quiet boy from a broken home become one of the most disciplined minds in Tokyo? Welcome to Wisdom Stories, where timeless truths meet modern lives. Today, we bring you a powerful true story of a boy who had every excuse to give up, but didn't, and in doing so, he built a self-discipline so strong, it changed his life forever. Stay with us till the end, because there's a moment in this story that just might change yours too. Daiki grew up in a small, gray apartment wedged between two factories. The walls were thin, the nights were cold. His mother worked double shifts at a bento kitchen, coming home smelling of fried oil and fatigue. His father, well, he hadn't seen him since he was 6. Sometimes Daiki wondered if his father ever meant to stay at all. When it rained, the ceiling dripped. When it was winter, the blanket wasn't enough. But even in all that, there was something in Daiki that refused to be numb. At school, Daiki didn't shine. He wasn't athletic. He wasn't top of the class. He was invisible. He sat in the third row, never raised his hand, never got called on. He wasn't bullied, but he wasn't included either. He was simply overlooked. But he watched, silently, closely, and what he saw bothered him. He began to notice patterns no one else seemed to care about. He noticed how the top student wasn't always the smartest, just the most consistent. The best runner didn't always have long legs, just the strongest routine. That's when a thought crept into Daiki's mind. What if success isn't about talent, but habits? One night, he wrote it down in his old notebook. Discipline is freedom in disguise. He didn't even know what that meant yet. But something about it felt true, like a whisper from a future version of himself. At 13, Daiki set a ridiculous goal. Wake up at 4:30 a.m. every single day for 1 year, no exceptions. The first week was brutal. His eyelids felt like stone, his body ached. His mind screamed, "Why are you doing this?" There was no applause, no rewards. Just silence, cold air, and a war between who he was and who he wanted to be. Some mornings he cried quietly on his mattress. Not because of the pain, but because deep down, he feared he'd never become anything more. But still, he got up. He started small, from 10 push-ups, then 20 from reading 5 pages, then 10, cold showers, morning walks, journaling. There was no magic moment, no fireworks, just a quiet rhythm building in the background. On the outside, nothing seemed to change, but inside, a tiny flame had been lit, one that wouldn't go out. By age 15, something strange happened. His classmates noticed he never missed homework. He was calm during exams, teachers began calling on him more. His body grew stronger, his eyes sharper. Even the school bullies backed off, not out of fear, but something harder to define, that is respect. People started asking, "What's your secret?" He'd smile and shrug, because how do you explain that your secret is choosing the hard thing every day, even when no one is watching? He wasn't perfect, he sometimes slipped. Slept in once or twice, forgot a workout, but every time he fell, he stood up faster. Because he was no longer chasing motivation. He was building something stronger, identity. "I don't do this because I feel like it," he wrote in his notebook. "I do it because it's who I am." Then, just when everything seemed to click, tragedy struck. His mother collapsed at work. The diagnosis was serious, an autoimmune condition requiring expensive treatments, medical bills stacked like towers. Daiki, now 17, had a choice. Give up his routine to work full-time or find another way. That night, he didn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, questioning everything. Why am I doing all this? For what? For who? In the darkness, a quiet voice inside him whispered back, "For the version of you that won't break." By morning, he made a decision. He would double down. He picked up freelance work online, taught himself graphic design from YouTube, slept less, studied harder. Still woke at 4:30, still did push-ups. Still read, still wrote in that same old notebook. Even when he was tired, Even when he felt behind, he reminded himself, this is not punishment. This is practice. This is who I want to become. Discipline, he realized, wasn't about control. It was about trust, trusting that your future self will thank you for today's effort. One rainy morning, he fell asleep on the train and missed school. The exhaustion had caught up. He felt like a failure. When he got home, his mother, frail but smiling, said something that hit him harder than any exam result. You didn't get your strength from me. You made it yourself. He broke down crying. For years, he thought discipline was about pain, sacrifice, suffering, but in that moment, he understood discipline is an act of love. Love for your future, love for your dreams, love for those counting on you, even when they don't say it out loud. That night, he didn't journal, he just sat in silence, hands shaking, heart full. Then he wrote for simple words in his notebook, keep showing up, always. Over time, his designs got noticed. A small company hired him, then another, then a bigger one. His freelance income surpassed his part-time job. He kept his grades up, graduated early, applied to university, got accepted with a scholarship. And he never stopped waking at 4:30. By 22, Daiki had paid off most of his mother's medical debt. She was doing better. The apartment had new curtains. He bought a second-hand coffee machine for her, the good kind. He even framed the first freelance paycheck he earned and hung it in the hallway. Sometimes old classmates would message him out of the blue. Bro, how did you do it? What's your morning routine? Can you help me build better habits? And Daiki would reply with the same sentence, it's not about feeling ready. It's about showing up, especially when you're not. Today, Daiki runs his own design studio in Tokyo. He still wakes at 4:30 a.m. Not because he has to, but because he can. His discipline gave him choices. And from those choices came freedom, the kind of freedom only few people ever taste. He once said in an interview, motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps you warm when life gets cold. Maybe you're not trying to be the top student or build a business, or wake up at 4:30, but maybe you're trying to keep a promise to yourself, to eat better, to read more, to get stronger, to become the version of you that deep down, you know is possible. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You won't always feel like it. But you don't need to feel like it, you just need to do it. One step today, another tomorrow. That's how the quiet become legends. That's how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. And maybe, just maybe, that's how you start your story too. If this story moves something inside you, even just a little, then do one more thing today for your future self. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more life wisdom videos and much more. We have more stories coming, ones that might change the way you see yourself forever. See you in the next video. Take care.